The cloud. Okay, everybody, this might be the best stinking topic we've done in years. I can't wait to dive in. My name is Erik Hatch of Hatch Realty and Hatch Coaching. We're based out of Fargo, North Dakota. And whoa, 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 whoa. If you're experiencing anything like we are right now, sellers are hard to find. Let's just be very simple, very upfront, very straight. Finding sellers right now is exceedingly difficult. I'll tell you that Hatch Realty, we've had so much growth and so much excitement over the last couple of years. We are hitting next month, we'll hit our 5,000th sale as a company in the last 7 years. That's so cool. And in addition to that, last year we had an amazing year, as many people did too. We sold 866 homes. An awesome year. We were up almost 40%. And this year, whoa, our pended sales are up over 100% from where they were this time last year. Just awesome growth. And yet we're looking around like everybody else saying, where in the world are the sellers? Now, if you've paid attention to the COVID piece, I think that most of us expected that COVID would dry up buyers, but instead it's dried up sellers. And I want to identify the problem and talk about the reason why I think we have so few sellers right now. And I think it's two or threefold. The first fold I'm going to say is that most people refinanced. If they could, they should, and they should have refinanced. And so that was growth that happened and action that happened for people in 2020. Find a mortgage lender and they'll all tell you that they had their best years ever because it was obviously a busy real estate market and then refis as well. So refis are number one why I think sellers have dried up. Number two, I think that we have seen such a plethora of buyers that sellers feel like they're actually less than what they are. Homes that used to sit on the market and people had absorption rates of 2, 3, 4, 5 months now have 7, 10, 15 days of absorption rates. It's pretty obscure. And so because the buyers are in such droves, it feels like there's no sellers. Now, the third piece is that the cost of new construction has certainly escalated. And new construction as a high price point has been a very big pain point for people because that may be their only opportunity to find that next spot. And I think that there's like dominoes lined up right now, just people on people on people that are waiting until they find their right house to list their house, but somebody wants to buy their house and their listing isn't there yet, so they don't know that they want to buy it. And there's all these dominoes that need to fall, and we don't know what's going to come first, the chicken or the egg. And so you're watching this right now. You're either watching live or you're watching one of the replays that we have on the YouTubes. And you're watching this because you are hungry to get more sellers. And I have 13 ways, tried and true techniques that can be and should be used for you to get more sellers. Listings matter more than anything else. And if you have a listing, you should get a great buyer from it. If you have a listing, you get free marketing from it. If you have a listing, you are in control of the market instead of the market being in control of you. We all are hungry for listings, and I have 13 ways that you can get listings. So please, I want you to take some active notes. I don't have any slides today. This is all me just coming at you like a fire hose of information. Know that everything that I'm sharing with you has either been tried and tested by my real estate team. Again, we're going to sell 12 or 1,300 homes this year. And so we've had a lot of at-bats and a lot of techniques used. It's also been tried and tested by a lot of my coaching clients. I get the privilege of coaching some of the best realtors in the world, and I get to steal their ideas and share it with you all. And so where they pay great money, you're getting it all full free, which is awesome. Those of you watching live, if you have questions, please post it in the chat box. We want to make this interactive and not just presentational. Those of you who are watching the replay of it, just post on our YouTube feed there, and we will respond to any questions that you have. Now, I have 13 ways that you can get more sellers and more listings. Take some notes. Here we go. Number 13, we're starting at the top, and these are ordered kind of in the order of importance. In fact, the last two I have, I think are the best gold I can give. So don't ditch out too quickly because we put the good stuff at the end because that's what I was told to do one time to keep people around. Number 13 on the list of 13 things to do to get more sellers, this one's a free one, is let's talk about new construction. I want you to write down master new construction. I already identified a moment or two ago that new construction is sometimes a tricky and fickle business. However, a lot of sellers or a lot of home builders are working really hard to try to figure out the cheapest way. Notice I didn't say least expensive, but I said cheapest because it's just kind of industry known that builders are going to want to find the least expensive, cheapest way to navigate through things. So they may hesitate on marketing, they may pull back. And what I've seen is I have two guys in my world, Tyler and Cole, and they've gone and chased after two local builders. Now, one of the builders gives us listings when we sell some of their stuff. So that's awesome. If you can get that, sign up all day, every day. Because if we want to get more listings, sometimes it means mastering a product. And Tyler's mastered one product and Cole has mastered another. And now we've pulled some listings from that. But here's the value is these guys are such experts on this, representing their buyers, that they know of the subdivisions and they know of the costs and they know of the time frames. And so they are essentially an extension of that builder. And if the builder has put a fence or a wall around saying like, no, we're going to represent our own product, we're going to pay you if you represent the buyer, but that's about it. Here's what you have to understand is that there is a layer that probably hasn't been talked about. And I would encourage you to go to the builder that you have an in-depth relationship with. If you don't have that in-depth relationship, the idea is to become a master and expert and completely proficient in knowing that product. That's step number one. Step number two would be engaging that builder. Let's say it's Johnson Homes. To go to Johnson Homes and say, I want to know your product so well that I can work it inside and out. And my request for you would be that I list some of your homes. They may say yes, they may say no. But I would ask, can I list some of your homes? If they say no, or if they say yes, it doesn't matter because the next ask is where they have big wins. If they know that you're going to promote their product, I would say, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, owners of this construction company, what does it look like if you were to refer us to all of the people that need to sell in order to build your house? How do we make that a mutual win-win relationship? Because I want to be bringing you a whole bunch of buyers, but if you have these people that need to sell in order to buy your new construction house, how can I help represent those people? And most builders don't have a solution for that. What they simply do is they don't have that layer. So they'll simply say, oh, go and list your home. And then when you get it sold, then we can execute your contract or whatever it may be. And you can get a way in with that builder by representing them and representing the people that are trying to buy their house because they have a property to sell quite often. See, there's big opportunity. In fact, we went to one of our local builders who has built 200 homes a year for the last 20 years. And we challenged them and we said, hey, what are you doing with your past clients? They're like, oh, we're sending them emails and we're giving them these coupons for things. And we said, hey, can we call them? They're like, what do you mean? Like, well, we have these great ISAs, these great inside sales agents. Can we call them? And they said yes. So they literally gave us their database and we're calling these people now saying, hey, do you want to build a new Johnson home? And if they want to build a new Johnson home, awesome. Well, we get to sell it. Then we pass it off to them as well. It's a really great win-win. So step number 13 on my 13 ways in which you can get more listings is to master new construction. Number 12, this one's a free one as well. If you are on a team, this one pertains to you. Let's talk about incentivizing your team. Back in September and October, I saw that we were moving into a season where we were going to be super dry on listings. I knew the winter months in North Dakota are rough. And so because of that, I wanted to incentivize ways in which we could get listings. And so I put a couple challenges out there. I put a challenge out there to my team saying, if you get X number of deals from your sphere in the next 2 months as listings, I'm just going to pay you a bonus. Or you can do a competition that doesn't even involve money. It can simply be a chance for the best parking spot or the best office, or they get to hit you in the face with a pie, or they just get to hit you in the face. I mean, any of those things can be incentivizing for your team. And we put this challenge out there. And as we did, and we put it for the world to see, I watched my agents show up in massive amounts. I ended up bonusing out $23,000 of my own money for the work and the efforts that my team did. Now, if you heard me at the top of this, I said that we're up 100% for our pendants. for the month of January and February. Up 100%. We've doubled what we did this time last year. And that's because we got the listings back in September and October. And now those are closing in January and February. See, putting a carrot out there, dangling something and finding a way to incentivize people in your world is huge. Or if you're not on a team and you're a solopreneur, why wouldn't you tell yourself, hey, if I can go and get 5 listings, I'm going to get that new couch that we've been looking at. Or if I can get 4 new listings in the next month or 2, and if I do that, I'm going to reward myself, because if you get a listing in this market, it should sell, right? And if it should sell, that means that you will get paid on it. And please don't reward yourself until the commission checks actually come, but create some sort of incentivization and find a way for you to work. That's number 12. Number 13, master new construction. Number 12 is incentivize your team. And in fact, I think you can even offer a little bit of a higher split in a short period of time to incentivize them. I'm never one for just changing splits, but I think there is an opportunity for you to dangle that carrot out there. Let's talk about number 11. Become the area expert. See, I think a lot of people are looking around, looking for fruit today. They're looking to try to find something today. And I was talking with one of my coaching clients. Her name's Tanya Harbin out of Abilene, Texas. We were talking literally 2 hours ago. And she has a 21-year-old daughter and another gal on her team that's 21. 2 years ago, they made a little highlight video of like the 19 best things about Abilene, Texas. It was not exceedingly well done. It was just 2 sweet gals who were making this video, and they put it out there for the world to see, and it's lived out there on the internet. Now, fast forward, they had there was a consult happening in Tanya's office last week, and somebody saw one of the gals on her team. She's like, "Is that the gal from the video? That's why I'm here, is because I saw that video." See, I think a lot of people are looking for short-term solutions when you need to be playing a long-term game. I think that mind share, being front of mind and constantly being active in people's views, is more important than market share. Market share is very expensive to buy, where mind share takes time to earn. Let me tell you of a coaching client I have in another part of Texas. His name is Brent Wells. He's with the Living Well team out of Prosper, Texas. Once or twice a week for the last 5+ years, he's been making YouTube videos featuring new construction in his area. By the way, new construction in his area pays like 3, 4, 5% when he's able to sell it. Just a huge, huge commission payday, especially on these $500,000 to $1 million houses. And Brent makes all these new construction videos over and over and over and over and over again. And he's become the area expert. I have a coaching client in Wisconsin, and she takes her cell phone every couple of weeks and she goes and highlights a local place of business. Hires a VA to do some quick editing and highlights this local business. And all these people are putting their information out there in the world so that they can earn business long term. See, if you want to feature a subdivision and you want to feature your community, you oftentimes need to say, I have to start playing this game of earning the business rather than purchasing the business. I think both legs to the stool are necessary, but when we're talking about earning the business, having a video and social media strategy is huge. The Living Well team in Prosper, Texas is getting 2 to 5 phone calls a week from people relocating from the West Coast saying, I want to live in Texas now. By the way, I'm bringing my entire company, and so I need a house for myself and 7 of my team members. A literal text message that Brent got a week or 2 ago. And we all want to build $500,000 to $1 million properties. So that's talking about the buy side, but I want you to understand that this same philosophy works when you are highlighting these local businesses, when you're highlighting your community, that now you have mind share from people. And when they say, who do I want to sell my house? Well, I see what that person is doing to highlight our community. I bet they're going to do the same to highlight my house. And sure enough, you will earn a ton of business that way. I get droves of business from the work I've done on social media over the last decade. It's not because I posted something today, it's because I've been posting consistently for the last number of years. 13, master new construction. 12, incentivize your team. 11, become the area expert. We're on number 10. This is all about slaying a giant. Before I go there, my buddy Chip Hodgkins just said, he says, get on the news monthly. Oh, It's amazing what it's like to be the area expert and to get on the news monthly. Matt Wagner, a buddy of mine, is on this call too. He runs RATE, Radio and Television Experts, and we're going to talk about radio and TV in a moment. But I want to share with you that getting on the news regularly is so important, and you need to position yourself as that local expert. And so we can help you do that. Evan asked the questions that he has to run. We will send the recording out afterwards, Evan. So if you do have to bolt, you will get this sent to you after we process everything. And Matt is here. He says, hey, we're on number 10. Let's talk about slaying a giant. Number 10, slaying a giant. What you're not going to hear from me today is I'm not going to tell you to go door knocking. Although I think it can work. I think that if you knock on 50 doors, you maybe will find one seller. But what if you knock on one door and find 10 sellers? Ooh, now I hopefully have your attention. Knock on one door and find 10 sellers. What do you have to do? What doors do you knock on? I think there is an underserved market with divorce attorneys and probate lawyers. I looked up probate before this just because I wanted to make sure I was saying things correctly. And probate is another way to say like an estate lawyer, like somebody who's dealing with somebody who's died or that they're being moved into assisted living, something like that. And as we make all these moves, it's amazing what happens. I'll give you an example. I have a friend who owns an assisted living facility. I went to her and I said, hey, I'd love to serve your community better. We have this opportunity. I built this thing called Snap Offers where I buy homes direct from people so they can choose the easy button instead of selling traditionally. Like, do you have opportunities for your people? Do they need that? I wanted to go and find one giant to slay. And I talked to my friend Denise and she said, yeah, absolutely. This is a big opportunity. And in 1 month, I picked up three sellers in 1 month from one conversation with one giant. Somebody says, talk to a fertility doctor. You're not wrong with that. Oh, those houses need to get bigger. That is a funny point that I've never thought of as a fertility doctor. That's something. But what does it mean to talk to a divorce attorney, to talk to a probate lawyer, to talk to a fertility doctor, to talk to somebody who owns an assisted living facility, and to go in not to try to sell a product, but instead to try to serve on an exceedingly high level? And to say, listen, I'm a product of divorce, right? My parents were divorced, and I know the emotional strain that your clients are going through. What's a great way that I can help service your clients or people like them? It's not salesy when you say that. You just go in and you try to bring value. And sure enough, if you can earn that business, you will earn a huge chance. I have a coaching client on this call right now. Jim Black is his name. Jim said that half the listings that he went on and captured in January came from a relationship that he has with a lawyer. I think it was a probate lawyer. Jim, correct me if I'm wrong here. But there is big opportunity. Jim listed about a dozen houses with one lawyer relationship. And right now, there's a lot of growing families. I was with a family member of mine yesterday who is actually a family medicine doctor and delivers a lot of babies. She said that they have twice as many births right now than what had happened this time last year. These are COVID babies, right? Houses are growing. You think that's a valued relationship to have? Because I do. I mean, she doesn't live where I live, so that's not the relationship that I have. But still, understand that you need to go slaying giants if you want to get yourself some business. Okay. Number 13, master new construction. Number 12, incentivize your team. Number 11, become the area expert. Number 10, slay a giant. And number 9, this is one of my favorites, partner with a wholesaler. Number 9, partner with a wholesaler. If you don't know what a wholesaler is, these are the people that fly the ugly signs on street corners. These are folks that are doing tons of marketing saying, we will buy your house for cheap and take it off of you. We will buy ugly houses. I myself, I'm a wholesaler. I do a lot of radio and direct mail advertising to people to try to get folks to raise their hand. And I just simply have the opportunity to say, I'll buy your house and take it off your hands in its current condition, and you don't have to go to market, or you can list. But I have a friend out in the Washington, D.C. area, and he partnered with a wholesaler about 1.5 years ago. went to this wholesaler and said, you're going on 5 listing appointments a day, offering people these chances to sell your house, or that they can sell their house to you. And if they say no, they don't want to do that, what do you do with that lead? And they're like, well, we just throw it away and we can move on to the next one. And my buddy Chris is like, no, I can help you with that. He's like, what if you get your real estate license and then I pay you a referral on all those that turn into listings? Because if they don't want to sell directly to an investor, they still need to sell. And so my buddy Chris went and he approached this conversation, and now he added like 150 extra transactions to his bottom line. He sold over 500 homes last year, and 150 of them or so came from this one relationship with a wholesaler. He's now expanded into another market because that wholesaler's in another market, and he said, this works and we can just duplicate this model. And he's paying a referral to this person because they went and got their license. If they don't have their license, what you can do is you can co-market together. And so if you get a couple listings from it, then you can start paying for some of those leads with them. There's huge opportunities, especially in big markets. And most of those wholesalers don't know how to do retail real estate very well. And they don't know how to just sell a home. They just know how to flip a home or to sell to an investor. And you are ripe with opportunity to chase down a wholesaler. I promise you, those of you in larger markets with big wholesalers, if you approach this and actually do this, I want a thank you letter with a crisp $2 bill for the first $2 million you're going to make from this. It is such an underused thing out there in the industry, just ripe with opportunity. 13, master new construction. 12, incentivize your team. 11, become the area expert. 10, slay a giant. 9, partner with a wholesaler. Number 8, this one's where the money is. I think there's money in all of these, but this one's where big opportunity is, and it's your sphere. I think that your sphere is probably the most underutilized thing that you have, bar none, hands down. I think it's massively underutilized. We chase after purchase business instead of going for the people that we already know, like, and trust. And when I say sphere, I'm talking your past clients also. Simply engage them. And you don't have to call and say, hey, do you want to sell your house right now? And the call instead would be, Andrew, what's up, man? I just wanted to check in. How's COVID treated you? How's job? How's the wife? How's the family? What changes are happening in your life? Any value I can bring? And don't you think Andrew's going to start talking about, man, my house has felt small, or I've been working from home, or we're thinking about moving? Like, those conversations come up because you're a realtor. I mean, we don't have to bring up real estate. Everybody else brings it up for us. And working with your sphere is the biggest opportunity that's probably missed for you right now. The reason why in the month of February, it's February 23rd as I do this, the reason why we've sold 86 houses this month so far in a really, really cold month in North Dakota is because half of our business comes from our sphere and our past clients. It's where all the opportunity lies, and it is where you can make a really sound investment in what you're doing. Number 7, let's talk about FSBOs, for sale by owner, a FSBO. I think there is a big opportunity with FSBOs. Do I think that you should go and use that cheesy script of like, I might have a buyer who's interested and I'm going to take a look at your property? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think the move is this. I were to pick up the phone and I were to say, hey, it's Erik from Hatch Realty. I was wondering, I know you're looking to sell your house. I'm not trying to list it. I'm just wondering if I can do an open house on it. And if I can, will you pay a commission to the buyer? To the buyer agent that represents it. I'm looking to pick up some extra clients and I want to help sell your house. I have a coaching client in Greenville, South Carolina, who's using this technique, and they are ending up listing a lot of those houses because the person's like, yeah, I'll list with you. And so, yeah, I'll do the open house with you. And so as they're doing that open house, ooh, there's a big opportunity right there. It hasn't sold in a couple of weeks. Okay, now I'm going to try it with a realtor, and you're the one that showed up. And then you're also picking up a lot of unrepresented buyers there who maybe are sellers also. But even if you pick up an unrepresented buyer, you're still getting paid that commission on doing that one open house. See, open housing, doing an open house for a FSBO is so important. So important. A great point by my man, Matt Wagner here says this, is he says, What the industry needs more than anything right now is education. Options if you sell and you can't find a home, tell it on the radio, tell it on TV and social media. Many who have property management companies are offering their rental properties to sellers who can't find homes. Yeah, huge opportunity. Education is giant. That again goes into the mind share piece and getting your message out there in droves. Lisa asks, I'll be sending out this recording. I absolutely will, Lisa. You'll be getting it an hour or two after we are done recording. Gang, we have covered, I think we've covered 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've covered 7. We have 6 more to go. And I have so much fire to be spitting out to you. Here's where we find ourselves right now as we're moving into the first time you have to actually cut a check, the first time you have to pay. But when you do pay for leads, you need to pay wisely. So that's number 6, is to pay wisely. I have a few bullet points of things that I choose to invest in. I get an amazing return on my investment. And if you're targeting sellers, there's a few great methods to target sellers. Number 1, you heard me mention it before, is radio. I work with radio and television experts, an awesome resource available for people. However, it is exclusive in each market. So if it's not available for you, you should get on the waiting list. I've been doing radio now for 9 years. I have my own radio show. I show up as a guest on somebody else's radio show, and then I do live reads as well. I get phone calls all the dang time about being the interviewed person for the local newspaper. In fact, I just set one up this morning for a local magazine. I'm on TV quite frequently because I've now positioned myself as the area expert. The pain point that we find ourselves in is that so many sellers are blissfully unaware of their options, and I get to be that talking box of what they can do. They can sell direct to me. They can sell to a wholesaler. They can list traditionally. Heck, I'm even offering right now that I will give somebody an offer on their house, and then they can bump it at any time. You can do a guaranteed sold program. You can do a guaranteed offer program. I'm flirting right now with a guaranteed buyout program. There's lots of things and options, and radio is an amazing vehicle to get that message out. Radio is an expensive medium, but when you do it and you master it, it brings back far more than you give it. So I really enjoy that as a medium. Next up, I love Ylopo. My friend Howard runs a great company called Ylopo. He's a wicked genius. And they've partnered with some software called Homebot, homebot.ai. And Homebot is a really important way for you to send marketing materials to people, letting them know of the equity that they have in their house. See, think about it right now. Let's say Karen and Tony homeowner have owned a house for 8 years, and their area has appreciated 15% in the last year because it's just a COVID season and markets are really appreciating. All of a sudden, an email shows up in their inbox, and then some retargeting starts to happen as well, where they're like, man, I have an extra $30,000 in equity that I didn't know I had before. What could I do with that money, right? Like, it stimulates mortgage activity and it stimulates other seller activity, but it's targeting sellers because it names and talks about the equity that they have in their properties. That again is called Homebot. I still think that a good old-fashioned home valuation lead has some good value to it. I like homevalueleads.com. A great way for somebody to find some pay-per-click advertising, or a great way for somebody to find some things through social media. Either way, a nice way to get some value for sellers. And then finally, I loved me some direct mail. We partner with a company called REI Vault. If you go to reivault.com/snap offer, you'll see what we're doing with them. And we have a huge amount of value that we're getting from direct mail. Direct mail, you can hit a lot of inboxes, a lot of mailboxes, and you can hit it pretty frequently. And there's big value in that. I like direct mail a lot. It is a leveraged piece that makes the phone ring. Those are the 4 areas. I'm going to talk about in a little bit. I'm going to talk about one other thing that you have to pay for, but the rest of this is pretty much for free on the other side of some elbow grease. Here's where we've gone so far. Chip Hodgkins, yes, reivault.com/snap offer is where you'll see exactly what we're doing. I'll type that into the message here. Look at this. Switch here. I'm going to try to switch here. That's not, there we go. REI Vault. Let me type it correctly. /snap offer. Okay. Don't go to that yet until we're finished here. We started with 13, master new construction. 12, incentivize your team. 11, become the area expert. 10, slay a giant. 9, partner with a wholesaler. 8, dude your sphere. 7, open house a FISBO. 6, pay wisely. Number 5, it's all about the handwritten letter. I have seen handwritten letters crush for clients. I have a coaching client in Minneapolis, and he's been sending out handwritten letters now for the last couple of years. And he says, every 100 letters I send, I get 2 listing appointments, always. Now, here's how it looks. It is just a typical white piece of paper like this. And then you take a blue, needs to be blue, you take a blue Sharpie, not like the super fat Sharpies that are going to color the page in 3 swoops. Instead, a blue Sharpie, and then I would say, dear homeowner, my name's Erik with Hatch Realty, and my clients have been searching in your area for 6 months with no luck. Depending on fair housing rules in your area, sometimes you can provide a picture, sometimes you can give a description of the people, but nonetheless, my clients grew up in the neighborhood and they have 2 young kids and they would love a chance to live here again. They really enjoy the ABC Park, and Mr. Buyer works very close to here. They'd love a chance to find a place in your neighborhood. If you know of anybody considering selling in this market where they can maximize their dollars, please let us know. Any variation on that letter, and then it's signed Erik Hatch, but it looks as though I hand wrote it, right? I'm going to photocopy that on a high quality copy machine, and the blue is going to come through on each one of them. So again, it looks like I hand wrote it in each one of those situations. And then I'm going to put it in an envelope. I'm not going to print any labels. I'm not going to put a return address on there. But I need to disclose my brokerage information, right? So that needs to show up on the letter. I'm going to hand write the address. Now, how long is it going to take you to handwrite 100 addresses? An hour, maybe. If an hour of work leads to 2 listing appointments and you spend $60 on materials and stamps, do you think it's worth it? Now, here's what you're going to learn is that it's not one letter that's going to make the response come. It's going to be a consistent number of letters, and you vary it up. And what's the right thing to say? I don't like. The wrong thing to say is I'm not sending you a dang letter, but the right thing to say is here's all these opportunities that are here for you. Handwriting letters is labor intensive in the front end and full of reward on the other end. At worst, you're capturing some mind share for you. You can point people to a home valuation site. You can chase them with HomeBot. They should hear your message and see it in all these different places. But if you're going to fight for your clients, you should fight for your clients and help some people get in there. Don't underestimate handwriting some letters. It is a really, really big opportunity. Susan here says, do it while watching TV at night if you want. Absolutely. I have another coaching client in Steamboat, Colorado. His name is John Wade, wickedly cool guy. And John has been doing handwriting. He sends about 800 handwritten letters a month, and it is crushing for him. If you want to win, you need to get customized, because automation, an amazing part of our game. I just told you right before this that direct mail is great. It's automated, and automated works, but customization kills and crushes. How do you scale that? It's going to be on the other side of really great intentionality. Number 4, I call this the Shivers Strategy, SHIVERS. I have a buddy, Nick Shivers, out of Portland, Oregon, who told me last year, he's like, Hatch, COVID's playing a big impact. I got to change everything. So he stopped buying buyer leads. He cut out over $20,000 a month in Realtor.com that he was spending. Cut it out. And he invested deeper into things like billboards and radio and campaigns that were targeting sellers. So he pivoted a lot of that money. And then Nick Shivers went and told all of his agents on the team, you're all listing agents now. We don't need to chase after buyers. The buyers are showing up. Everybody now is a listing agent. He gave them all a chance to sharpen their sword. He has them lead generating just for listings. And Nick went from doing $100 million in 2019 to $150 million in volume in 2020. His profitability about tripled. He grew his team in such great droves, and everybody was a listing agent. 2 lessons to take away from that. Number 1 is everybody on your team lists houses. Don't do it until you train it right, but I think there's a big opportunity there to have everybody be more intentional to list houses and to lead generate for them. And then number 2 is you can probably pull back on spending all that money on buyer stuff and invest in some things that actually have proven to work, because how many buyers do you have in your pipeline right now? Do you need more buyers, or do you need more sellers? And are you going to have the guts to actually pull the trigger and start spending more on those things and start being more intentional with it? Or are you just going to do what you've always done? Because this market doesn't look the same anymore, and the same crap you've done to this point is not going to get you where you want to go. Top 3, gang, we made it. We're on the top 3. I got to readjust myself. I'm so excited. Top 3, number 1, target investors. This in fact plays, I'm sorry, number 3, not number 1, number 3, target investors. This plays into the same strategy about slaying a giant, but let's talk about investors right now. Have you heard about eviction moratoriums? It's a big fancy word, but it's a nice way to say that the government isn't allowing anybody to get evicted right now at all. I have a rental property that we put some tenants in there 5 months ago. They haven't paid rent yet for 5 months, and I can't do anything about it. As an investor, I am so frustrated with that. I fortunately have enough doors where that one hurt is absorbed by the other one's gains, right? But my guess is in your city and anywhere USA, you have investors like me that are pulling their remaining hairs out because they can't evict people. They're not collecting. The houses are starting to get torn apart. And then you know the story that there are more buyers today than there have been in the history of any of us being in the industry. So you have investors who are in pain and buyers who want that property. Your job is to play matchmaker, to go to the investors. And if you need to find an investor list, you can go to your local title company. You can ask for absentee owner lists. You can go on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace and see who's trying to like lease out or rent out places. If they're not with a large company, you can just find somebody who has some houses for sale or for rent. Here's what the call would look like. Say you go on Craigslist and you see somebody looking to sell their house. If you go to Craigslist and their number's on there, you simply dial them up and you say, hey, my name's Eric with Hatch Realty. I represent a number of buyers in the area, and I'm curious if you had ever entertained selling the place you have for rent right now. There's a huge opportunity for people to say, oh, well, what would my house sell for? Well, based on what I see in the area, it looks like you're going to be valued at $170,000 to $200,000 in that range. But I might be able to have some buyers who would jump on that right now if you'd entertain it. And guess what? The buyer will take the problem. The buyer will take the place that's dilapidated, or they're going to take the place that is housing some tenants that aren't paying. Because some buyers right now would be willing to, with current interest rates, they'd be willing to buy that problem. In fact, I know I would, so I know other investors would too. And now, how many listings can you pull? Because they're starting to say, geez, Louise, there's big opportunity there. So, number 3, target investors. Number 2, this one's big, B-I-G-G, big. You need to write this down if you write anything down. I learned about this from my friends at Ylopo about a month ago. It's called Google Local Services, GLS, Google Local Services. I think that Google is out to take some of those Zillow dollars, and they see how much money Zillow has collected from us suckers over the last decades. And Google wants a piece of that pie too. It is a really, really big opportunity. And so Google is now, they have sponsored ads, not just where it says little ad up in the corner. They have sponsored ads where my picture appears and I am a vetted, approved vendor like through Google. This is getting us top of mind. It is getting us a picture where everything else is text. It is getting us at the top of every search that you do in my area. If you type in realtors in Fargo, well, guess what? I'm paying to be there. And our phone, we just got it last week. Our phone is starting to ring and ring and ring. Wailopo is a great option. A guy named Joseph Lee, who's out there, is a great option, but they have limited spots in every market, and you need a ton of reviews to really show up and to be prominent in it. It is such a big deal. Google local services. If you take action from this call and actually chase that down, you can send me a $2 bill when you make $2 million from Google local services. It's a really big deal. Right now, Reagan says this, GLS are bottom of the funnel leads. Top of funnel are like really slow to convert things. Bottom of the funnel means they're ready right now. He says his phone is ringing and he's setting appointments. It kills. Thank you for that, Reagan. I know it's a big deal. Another question, going back to the target investors, how does that work through owner-occupant financing rules where the buyer must move within a couple of months? That's probably unique to your market, so I don't know if I can answer that, Susan. I think that each market is going to be unique on that, but feel free to shoot me a message offline and I can try to help. Number one, let's cover the 12 that we've gone through and then give you the number one. By the way, Chad asked, how do you get set up with Google local services? Chad, if you're in Wailopo, they'll set it up. There's a great guy named Joseph Lee who can set it up for you, but he's exclusive in your market. Or you can just literally go to Google and type in Google local services and it'll show you how to get signed up. That's the best I can tell you there. Here are the 12 we've covered. Number 13, master new construction. Number 12, incentivize your team. Number 11, become the area expert. 10, slay a giant. 9, partner with a wholesaler. 8, dude your sphere. 7, open house of FSBO. 6, pay wisely. 5, handwritten letters. 4, the Shivers Strategy. 3, target investors. 2, Google local services. And before we get to number 1, Jackie asks, is Wailopo for brokerages only? Nope, individual agents and teams also, Jackie, so you can sign up for that there. And Aldo says that GLS is pretty easy to do. You don't need to bill, you don't need to do it through Wailopo. So thank you for that, Aldo. Number 1, every lead you are looking for, every seller you're looking for is probably already in your database. I think they're already there. I think that there is ripe opportunity and there is so much meat on the bone that you haven't chased after. I want to share with you a text message and you need to write this down verbatim because this is who you should be texting in your database. If you're in my database and your name's Ann, I'm going to say, Ann, are you still looking to sell your house if you get the right price for it? Hey, are you still looking to sell your house if you get the right price for it? That is going to create a massive amount of engagement in your database of people you've already earned business from and business you've already purchased. Are you looking to sell your house if you get the right price for it? It is such a simple text message because your database, you don't need to always go and buy new leads. Just do more with the leads that you have. This is a lead follow-up game just as much, if not more so, than a lead generation game. And stop going after the low-hanging fruit and start shaking that tree a little bit more with your database, with your sphere, with your neighborhood. This is about doing more, being more, and showing up so that you can have more. But don't play that short-term game and play it too briefly because you will be in big trouble for it. Now, finally, I want to share with you all, Jamie asked a great question about some of the things that we offer. We have 3 options for our sellers, and I actually think that a menu of services is one of the ways that you will stand out from the competition. So you're getting a bonus point here. If you go to hatchrealty.com, you'll see that we have a menu of services for our sellers. Number 1, sell the traditional route. Here's the value proposition when we say sell the traditional route is, hey, if you want to guess what your home is worth, and then put it on the market, be riddled with interruptions and uncertainty. When a buyer finally comes along, we're going to negotiate for a while, and then there's an inspection, and that's going to be tough. Then the parents are going to come through, and that's going to be tough. And then we have to have it go to an appraiser, and then we hope that the buyer doesn't flake out. And if all that works out, we'll hopefully get you kind of close to the numbers that you want. That's our original value proposition when we talk to sellers. We've offered two other options, and that shows up on our website, a traditional listing. On this end of the spectrum, we offer what's called our snap offer. It's as easy as 3, 2, 1 sold. 3, contact us. 2, we do an on-site valuation of your property. And 1 is within just a couple of days, we will get you 2 prices for your property. 1 is your go-to-market price, and the other is what an investor, I'm the investor, what an investor is willing to pay for your property so that you can get out. No hassle, no fix, no fees, no anything else. You just simply get your money at closing and you pick the closing date. It's pretty awesome. I did about 25 last year and we'll expect to do about 30 or 40 this year. Big opportunities. They turn into listings for us, but I make a plethora of cash on it. It's really a fun gig. And then in the middle, what we did is we started to offer a $10,000 interest-free loan that I'm giving people. See, not everybody has a house that's in shambles and they need to sell to an investor. Not everybody can go traditionally because they need new flooring and they need new paint and they need new countertops and it just their house looks a little drab. So we offer a $10,000 interest-free loan to people. It's simple. We'll line up the contractors with you. You can't have like your uncle who's a handyman do it. It has to be a literal paid person. And you just pay me back at closing. We make sure that they have at least 15% equity in their property because they have to pay 7% to list with us. And then we put 8% in there for a price adjustment. And so if for some reason their house didn't sell, I'd be able to have a lien on the property and they could go and get a loan for it. But I offer them a $10,000 interest-free loan. They just need to pay me back when it closes. And people are doing this. And let's say their house is worth 150 in its current condition. They take my 10 grand and put it on top. So now it's worth 160. It actually is selling for on average about $15,000 over that. So like 175. So they're making an extra $15,000 by borrowing my 10. And I charge them a $495 transaction fee, a $500 fee to qualify, and then 7% interest. But they don't pay me back until closing. And guess what? I worked with my general contractor and he said he'll wait until closing to get paid too. So it actually cost me no money out of pocket and we give them huge options. So that is our menu of services that we offer. Circling back here, and folks, we're going to wrap in just a moment. If you have questions, please put it in the chat box. If you have something that has jumped out at you, please put it in the chat box. This has been hopefully valuable for you all. Ashley says this, if Ann says, well, maybe, what's the text, call, and script, right? If Ann is on the text with me and she says maybe she'd sell, I would simply say, awesome, let's take a look at your property. When can we come and see it? And looks like you're still interested in maybe figuring out what that right price is so that you would sell. When can I come and see your property? Like you're just now setting an appointment. You're just going to future business there, right? Reagan asked the question, how do you secure the note? I wrote up a promissory note that was approved and written by my lawyers. And so that promissory note is super easy. It's like a 2-page document and that I now have a lien on their property for that fix up. Susan says a $500 fee to qualify. Can we talk a little bit more about it? I'm just simply finding a way to charge more, Susan. I'm taking a big risk because if I have to take them to court, by the way, the reason why I decided on $10,000 is because small claims court in North Dakota only goes to 10 grand. And I don't want to take them to regular court. I want to take them to small claims court. They do pay that $500 up front. They pay their transaction fee at closing, but they'll pay the $500 up front in order to qualify. So that's their only cash out of pocket is that $500. And then I go and give them $10,000. So the list I've covered, I've read it a few times for you. I want to send you to 2 places before we go. Number 1, if you haven't done so yet, I want you to go to hatchcoaching.com. And at hatchcoaching.com, I want you to sign up for the Hatch Huddle. I spend 45 minutes every week diving into a topic with my partner, Robbie T, and myself. And we are giving high value and high training to the real estate industry. This is for ISAs and agents and rainmakers and people who are all over the chart on teams or solopreneurs. We are giving really, really valued stuff. We've been at it 2 months now, and we are getting such great feedback from it. We're giving you the first 30 days for free. Literally, it costs you nothing. After that is just $99 a month for some really high level exquisite training. That's at hatchcoaching.com/hatchhuddle. There'll also be a link in the email that comes out. Susan here says that she's had 2 huddles so far and loves it. Thank you for that, Susan. That's so cool of you. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to go to our YouTube channel, look up Hatch Coaching on YouTube. We're putting out 1 or 2 videos a week of just some extra content and things that you can gobble up. We have lots of products on our website, lots of things. We're even going to give you a discount code on some things if you want to activate and purchase some things. We give away a lot of free stuff, but of course, I'm a businessman and I'm never ashamed to make a buck to support my family too. Finally, Diana has a question. She says, what do we do to qualify them for the $500 fee? We make sure that they have at least 15% equity in the property. And that's really the only qualification. They have to sign the promissory note, and then we make sure that they have to have at least 15% equity to cover the 7% plus another 8% in price adjustments. So that has been a good win for us. I hope you got something out of today. I hope you have some new ways that you can capture some listings and some sellers. There's a wild market out there. If you have questions, throw them my way. If there's anything I can do to help you out, please let me know. But with that, we are wrapped. I'll stay online if there's any other questions. I got a couple minutes before a coaching call, but I'll stop the recording from here. So God bless y'all. Thanks for joining.